Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to today's session with our adjunct prof, Mr. Shukri. Today he's going to be talking to us about the interview and specifically kind of what management wants. He'll share with us probably his experiences hiring people, and I think like he said last week, maybe also with firing people. We'll see. If you have questions throughout, do ask. You can turn on your mic, your camera, ask a question, or use the raise hand function and we'll see it. I also have some questions from some people in my class already, so where it's appropriate, I'll ask the questions now. If not, we'll wait for Mr. Shukri to finish his short briefing and then we'll get straight into it.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. Okay.
Go ahead, Shukri. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Stay safe. And we meet again. Okay, this time around it's more of I mentioned earlier it was going to be a shorter session. It depends on your question, basically, because there is no what do you call it, a process of how to go interview or kind of thing, because every agency operates differently and every leader operates differently. Every leader has their own sets of criteria that they look for in an interview. Okay, not only an interview. Once you get a job, is how to retain in a job. So that also will be covered. Okay, it's not like getting a job and then go hoo-ha, and then after that you celebrate and then the hard work starts. Celebration is just a short while. The hard work starts. That's the beginning of your career in terms of whatever you do it for the rest of your life, basically. I don't have much slides. It's just as a guide to be able to guide our discussion. Maybe after this, I can jump straight away into questions. Okay, let me share the screen first. Do you see? Is the screen on?
Not yet. Still your camera.
Okay. Screen. Okay. Okay. Start broadcast.
Okay.
Okay. So I have the full screen. All right. Okay. All right. Job interview, what management wants, basically. This is just a scope of discussion. Okay, the discussion guide in terms of how I'm going to take you through. Basically, discussion guide is based on experience, on my own experience on various roles during different era with different set of needs. Okay, there's 2 points. As a team leader, as I mentioned earlier, so as a team leader is when I was holding the post of an account manager. Even an account manager, I interview people because I need executive to work with me, and then account director, and then a group director. Group director in my previous agency, it was McCann Erickson. It was a management team. There's only 4 group directors in the entire agency. The agency was very big. Again, at that point of time in the 90s, it was the number 1 agency in Malaysia and also the world. My group was a Coca-Cola and Maxis group, and then there's another RJ Renault, which is a cigarette group, which is huge, And another group was Nestle group, taking care of Maggie and Nestle and all those brands. And then each one of us is like a medium-sized agency. Each group director. That's how big it was before as a agency. So my team was around, account management alone was 15 people. Again, and then you mix around with the creative team and all, at least 30 to 40 people. So the whole agency is like around 100 something, 200 people, those kind of thing. And then as a CEO, I did mention just now, as a CEO, it wasn't difficult because I let my people do the interview. If they like, and then I will see if I feel like I want to see the guy, I'll see the guy. If not, I say just hire them and let me sign. As simple as that, those things. Okay. And then, to start off, I'm sure if you Google, you can see FAQs on Google. 27 most common job interview questions and answers. What are the 10 most common interview questions and answers? This is global, okay? And I found one about research done in Malaysia, that 20 most asked questions. They also say, tell me about yourself, what are your biggest weaknesses, And then what are your strengths? What do you see yourself? Where do you see yourself in 5 years? All those things, you know, that kind of thing. So as a management, why we hire whenever there's an opening or vacancy? Now, why is there an opening or vacancy? Because there's growth. We win an account, or the account has increased in terms of budget. Client say, I got bigger project. I want you to add your people because this guy is running alone. You know, he's so tied up. You know, it's so difficult to get him. Can you put another person? All those things, those things happen. Okay, sometimes it's behind the scene. Client request, you know, because you think my account is important enough. I want another person to be able to run because I don't know, and then because that will give opportunity for them to add their brands into our portfolio, basically. And then the restructure when there's a new business, a new role, or even trimming down. Sometimes when you lose an account, so you have to lose people. And yet you still have to maintain certain part, and then you don't have those people because they're too senior enough. Those guys will have to find somewhere else. So you have to hire somebody to be able to take over those things. And a replacement upon a resignation, basically. A replacement, so it doesn't have to replace a same person, the same character. But if now that's the time when we review the needs. Okay, we review the needs whether we need to change the way we manage the account. So we hire somebody else to run that content. So that is the okay. Hello, why did I lose a picture? Sorry. I'm trying to figure out all this screen, all things popping up. So okay, so those are basically in terms of for me to give a warm up in terms of what you need to know, basically, you know, and yeah, during my middle management and the management role, I hire a lot of people. I even fire a lot of people depending on the needs, because clients are very demanding, you know. There are some people I just hired, and after a week, clients say, I don't want him. So what do? You know, I don't want him or her. That kind of thing. Why? What happened? So, you know, so you have to find a reason in terms of how to fire people so that they don't sue you. Normally you have a good reason to be able to do that. You tell them very nicely, this is the way, whatever. And thankfully for me, I was lucky enough. Whoever I fired, they came back to me and thanked me for that reason. Because the idea of why they had to go, the reason of why they had to go, I made it very clear for them. This is where your weakness is. This is not even a weakness. There's a blunder. That's where you need to improve, those kind of things. And they know that, they learn from that. The rest, whoever don't learn from that, I haven't seen them until today. There are people who doesn't learn. Okay, they think their ego is bigger than their career. Those things. So I mean, is that, you know, as somebody who is new, okay, especially fresh graduate, you know, there are people who start complaining, you need experience. Every job on it, they always ask for how many years experience. We don't have experience. But there are, because during my time, agency business was growing, especially in the 90s and the new millennium. So it was growing. So I had the privilege to be able to bring in interns every 6 months. I always had 2 to 3 people helping me. You see? So that makes my job easier in terms of interviewing. I don't have to interview somebody new. I know this guy spent time with me for 6 months. I observe them. My team observe them. You know, are they a team player? Can they work very well with my team? Sometimes I get good feedback from my team. Say, boss, hire this person, hire this person. Okay, so we lock them even before they finish their exam. Those things, you know, because we don't want to miss the opportunity, and especially we do that. It's easier. So going for internship is the opportunity for you to be able to prove yourself in terms of you fitting within the team. Mostly people hire from there. It's easier because I don't have to spend 1 hour trying to judge somebody within 1 hour of meeting. How can you judge somebody within 1 hour of meeting? Because my criteria is simple. Okay, when you apply for a job, when we say there's opening, the first thing you do is you send your resume. That I know in terms of how equipped you are in terms of experience, in terms of qualification. I don't want to question about that anymore. Okay, I want to see your personality. I want to see the attitude. So that 1 hour is for you to find out the person, whether that attitude can fit into my team. The attitude, sometimes you can, after 5 minutes, you know how cocky the person is. After 5 minutes, you know how timid the person is. After 3 minutes, you know how overconfident someone is. And then how you can tone them down, or after a minute, how silly or stupid somebody is. There are a lot of characters. Okay, there are a lot of characters. It's a very colorful business. any job for that matter, when you interview, especially when there's a list of people that you have to see those things. So is that, and again, I've got plenty of interviews, but the main thing which I think that helped me with my team was that I made I would say 90% the right choice, because these are the people who are still having tarik with me, my staff, and they are leaders in the industry now. Director of telecommunication brand, director of telecommunication, 2 big brands in Malaysia. Some of them have gone overseas, become head of marketing in Australia, and one in the US. These are the people who has been part of it. I'm not claiming credit, but again, these are the kind of characters that you choose to work with you. They can go further. And how many times have I lost my staff to my client? Because my client liked them so much, my client hired them, and they became my client. My staff, my subordinate became my client. You know what I mean? So I take pride in that because they're good enough. And when a client wants to hire your people, you cannot say no lah. You want my business, okay lah, you take lah. But you're shooting yourself in your foot. Basically told them that. So and then I have problem here. So, but it works. It worked well because I always have a good relationship with my client. I have 18 years relationship with Levi's in 2 different agencies. They followed me to my next agency. I had 10 years with Coca-Cola, and then a few other things. So those are the client which I learned to be what I am right now. I learned the process. I became their partner rather than became their supplier. Most agencies became supplier. You just go and do that. You don't disturb me again. These clients, like Levi's, I was only an account manager. I was the only one running the account at that point of time in the early 90s, think. When they go for business trips or to anything, they brought us. I went to Australia with my client in 1992. I was just on the account after 1.5 years. They brought me to Sydney and then to Auckland to be able to learn in terms of how the Australian. So we came back. We do a strategy together in terms of how to bring the brand further. Those things, It depends. You have to have relationship. I don't know whether this relationship still exists, but I don't think so. Because the last time is a real relationship. Is all this interpersonal communication. Now everything is too much digital algorithm that then you don't have to learn through those things anymore. A lot, depending on one interesting, before I go to your question, one interesting session, how I decide was, this was when I was in Beach. I was a CEO. The agency was growing. because we got a lot of new accounts, and I don't have a strategic planner. You know, a strategic planner is the person who do the strategy, the thinking, whatever. Because before that, the account management has to do the thinking, you know, to do the strategy and then give to the creative the strategy. The creative strategy, they are all work together with a strategic planner. So I need a strategic planner, but I don't have enough budget. I got approval from my regional boss, who was based in Hong Kong at the time. He said, I work together with my finance director. How much can we afford to pay this guy? Because strategic planner at that time, even now, they come from India. You have to get from India. Okay. So what I did was, I called my counterpart in Mumbai, the CEO of Bates India. I said, can you shortlist a medium range people within this course who wants to become a strategic planner in Malaysia? Okay. And then after a few conversations through email and phone calls, they said, Shukri, you have to come down here to meet these people. So he arranged. So I fly down to Mumbai. They put me in one top star hotel where all the elite of the advertising and the Bollywood people hang around, which is what was the hotel? The one got bombed, the Taj. Oh, the one that got bombed, the Taj. Yeah, there was a real 5-star hotel. I mean, you go to India, you go to Mumbai, you stay in the hotel. That means you're king. I never realized at that point in time. It was in 2006. I think 2006, and it was like 15 years ago. India was exporting their people. They like to go out and work outside India because it's so competitive in the country. So when I got there, they arranged every hour there's one person. I got no lunch break from 8 a.m. until 6 p.m. Everybody was queuing, wanted to see the CEO of Malaysia, Bates Malaysia, because they want to come to work. And those guys, okay, some of them are very aggressive, some of them are very intelligent, some of them are super intelligent. So that one, it was quite intimidating for the interviewer. Those kinds of, because they really want the job. But I look at that, and then because I look at it, I know all of them has got a very impressive resume. So I know resume. I say, okay, if I close my eyes, if I don't see them, based on the resume, I will hire all of them. Full stop. So now, what would decide me to hire them? To hire this person number 3 or number 8 or number 5? Because I think I will interview like almost 10 people the whole day. They are very senior people. So they come from a good agency over that side, and the experience or tremendous experience. So some of them are even, most of them are overqualified. I have a very young team. I don't want my team to be intimidated by these guys. So I decided to find somebody who's got character and those. Yeah. So I look purely on the character. And I hired that guy. This was 2006. He stayed in Malaysia, unfortunately, until last year. He got into complication. It wasn't COVID. He passed away in Malaysia. The guy. I brought him there. He stayed with me for until I left the agency, because I left Bates. I went to Publicis. So at the point of time is because his character is more will fit into the Malaysian characteristic. Some aggressive planner. They are very aggressive. So my team are very young and very fresh. So we need somebody to be able to work together with them as a team. So I mean that's one example in terms of when you talk about characteristics, to look at the character or attitude of someone, there's no hard fast rule in terms of what question to ask. It's more of having a chat. When you have a chat, you share a topic. And then when you interact within that topic, you can tell whether it's just like how you meet new friends. You know, when you talk to a new friends, always regard each other. You know, you talk to new friends. Sometimes you get along very well because the topic is, maybe because the topic is of similar interest. But sometimes you know how to adapt towards that. But some people, you know, they do refuse to adapt. They just brush you off, those things. Okay, so I mean, those are some examples I can share. You know, basically, even here in Malaysia, back in Malaysia during McKenna Harrison as a management team, when I hire, when they have experience, I dwell into the experience. What do you do? Sometimes when they put on resume, they claim they do this, they do that. I have been through that. I ask the question in terms of how complicated those things. If they don't do, if they claim something that they don't do, I can tell, you know, so don't overclaim the kind of thing. So even when, as a fresh graduate, whatever experience that you have, put it down, because it will reflect in terms of your capability, in terms of your character, especially in the internship. What do you do? Who do you follow? Who was your supervisor? What account were you handling? And then provide some brief, not provide lah, but you don't do inside resume, but you try to remember certain experiences that you have in terms of handling things, a problem or an issue. It doesn't have to be good things. It doesn't have to be, oh, we won an award. People like to do that. I mean, there's an issue. There was a problem. You know, sales were down because there was an competition came up with something new. So those kind of things, because will give us a management to evaluate your capabilities, your thinking capacity, basically. You know, sometimes, you know, we want to see how intelligent a person is. You talk about that, you discuss about that. The rest, yes, you can prepare all those FAQs lah in the next 5 years. Where do you want to be? You know, the kind of thing. I mean, but what we don't want to hear in the next 5 years, I want to be a CEO somewhere lah, my own company. No, and then I won't hire you. I want you to be with me. You know, so okay. Can we go to the questions?
Sure. First, anyone in the meeting room currently wants to ask a question first before I go to the ones that I have? Anyone?
I actually have a question, but I don't know whether it will be like repeated with the one those who already submitted in the Padlet.
Okay, go ahead.
It's actually quite relevant to our situation now, because we are fresh grad and then we doesn't have a lot of opportunity to do some grad works or to produce some grad works. Yeah. So when you're interviewing a fresh grad, will you focus more on their work, like past work, portfolio, or you will look at their characteristic, like personality?
Yeah, because if you're fresh grad, I know if I want to hire a fresh grad, I cannot be asking your experience because I know you're fresh grad, you know. All I need to do in terms, I want to see your personality, whether you can be part of the team, whether you can grow. Because we are more interested in your growth than you are, you know. Because, you know, no, I mean, you have to understand that the sincerity in the management wanting to grow their business, you have to find people who can grow together. Because like I said, that's personality. We look at attitude. We look at, you know, your character. You know, kind of thing. So we have chat. I will have a chat 1 hour to be able to find whether your character will fit in terms of sometimes the answers, the conversation that we have. I don't know what the specific question. The conversation is not so much of the question. The conversation that we have, we can tell whether this person is lazy or whatever. You know, sometimes you can tell. You know, but even that's the only chance we have. The 1 hour we spend with you, that personality has to come out. You have to work towards that. You have to prove that to us that you want the job. Not so much, not you want the job. Why you want the job? But first thing, you do your homework by finding out what is the job scope is all about, so that you can and you can share your characteristic that will fit the work. Rather than you come, you don't know what you apply for. I got people, anything, you go find something else. Simple as that. If you don't know what you want, I don't want to give you anything that you don't know what you want, because I put you there. I don't know what you're going to do. I just want you to be able, because I want you to have the drive, to be hungry, wanting to learn. Because a fresh graduate will have to do that. You will have to have that characteristics of hunger, of starting to build a career, so those things. But there are certain people, and then suddenly, before anything, they saw that we are keen already, they start negotiating. They want more money already. I say, man, this is our standard. You want, you take. You don't want, you want more money, you go somewhere else. You go to the bank. You can get higher. No, you can get 1,000 ringgit more. You work to the bank. But what is your the career path? Depending. So in this area, because we want to see the character and also your capacity to be able to expand your role, not necessarily in terms of being a account executive or account manager in account management agency. Account management, those days they call themselves a first class office boy, because we wear tie, we used to wear tie, and big meeting we wear suit, very proper. And then things change. People get too casual. Sometimes you cannot look saleke lah. You go to client, give. It's not so much, but you is respect them. You see not? So me, whenever, but I don't have much experience working with government or GLC companies. Those are people are very proper. When I go see them, I wear suit. Because it's a respect for them. It's not me showing off. So with my Levi's client, I will have to wear Levi's. So I think I can wear t-shirt with Levi's. I can think it doesn't matter. I want to be slightly casual and formal. I sling a blazer onto a t-shirt with my Levi's. Even with my other clients also, I will wear Levi's, because I got Levi's account. So I got away with it. I got away with it. So that is kind of nice. So it's basically that. Don't have to worry, because if that management is so stuck up about trying to ask your experience when you don't join them, because they don't know what they don't know what they're doing. We understand. Fresh graduate, when we want fresh graduate, we know, because it's fresh graduate. We want to groom these people to be able to be part of the team, because so it's that. So sometimes we ask with the client, so can we get somebody to help this person? Because I already have somebody, can we have somebody to help this person, rather than you split the workload with somebody at the same level? Because I don't want too many people within the same level, because they start competition among themselves, then it's going to hurt the client as well. So it just we want to work as a team, basically. It's basically that. No, not to worry. I think, most of us, we're not that silly to be able to look for something that you don't have.
All right, thanks, Mr. Shukri.
You're welcome.
All right, thanks for the question, Chelsea. Any other questions from anyone?
I'm just going to piggyback off Chelsea's question about personality. And what are the types of questions you ask to gauge someone's character or personality? Because I know some, like even universities and jobs, they have like this critical thinking question where it's very vague, like a riddle. That you can gauge. So do you use that?
Okay. I was my explanation just now was talking about my own experience, but there are agencies who give that critical thinking questions. They have questions, they have tests. We don't do the test. I don't do the test because probably because I was very comfortable with my client. I know how they are. I know what kind of characters they are. I have to find somebody who can fit with their characters. It's not so much with me, because they will deal with the client every day, and then with me. To me, just said to me is that as long as they're aligned in terms of my direction, in terms of where I want to take my team, then they'll be part of my team. But more importantly, their character have to fit in terms of my client's characteristic and client's objective, basically. There are agencies, I know, because a lot of people gone through, they have tests, they have IQ tests, they have a lot of tests. I mean, they have to go through. Maybe first they look at your resume, and then they give you the test, and then they look at the test, and then they interview you, then they look at the test. The kind of question, to me, the kind of questions, it's just like more of interaction, because I'm in the management, account management, the what do you call it, the liaison officer within the client. It's more interpersonal communication. It's about human interaction. Human interaction. So I have to look at that character. Question, it varies. I couldn't remember, but normally I will ask, client, I will give a situation. If a client, the kind of day, what would you do? I mean, just for discussion, not so much as a test, because once I put it as a test, sometimes people get panic, because they wanted to know whether what right or what wrong. What is right, what wrong? Because my approach is more of making it as a discussion, so that we can see whether you can engage into this conversation or not. I wasn't looking for the answers, but I was looking for the response. This kind of thing. And the answers will help us. Sometimes will give you a clue in terms of how smart this person are. So it's that, basically that. What else is there? There's one slip my mind. Never mind. After I remember, I bring out there in that, because she was saying that people give tests, and then what kind of question do we ask? Oh, slip my mind. Never mind. Sorry. Next time I'll write down. Sorry.
Thank you.
All right. Any other questions from the floor at the moment? If not, I'll just take one. Louise, go ahead.
Hi, I have a question regarding to the employee probation. I'm not if it's the proper noun of it. So does a company normally have probationary period when they hire like new employee? Like if yes, how long does a probationary period usually long? And is there any difference between intern and probationer?
Intern probationer. Intern, I don't think intern there's do they have that area right now? I'm not sure.
So I think she means like difference between an intern and somebody who is hired full-time and is on probation.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, there is a difference. Intern, I know that you're going back to college. Somebody on probation, I know that I want them to be confirmed. Okay. It varies. It used to be 6 months. Sometimes it's 3 months. But mostly, if you're good enough, when they say 3 months, 6 months, after 3 months, we hire. Okay, thing. I will always see in terms of if I find that a person is good, because you interview, you only have 1 hour to be able to determine whether this person fit your team or not. But you start working with them after a few months, you can tell already after 2-3 months. Sometimes 2-3 months, you can tell already this person doesn't fit, I mean, maybe you can give them a warning, not a warning lah. I mean, you alert them. Okay, it's been 3 months, and then your probation, there's another 3 months. You haven't gone to the level of the expectation just yet. I mean, just give them the encouragement. Some people change, some people doesn't change. So after that, sometimes we even before probation they resign, or sometimes we just tell them we cannot. We extend your probation for another 3 months. Extend, we don't fire. We extend. So if you get the message, you got to extend, you're not good enough to be able to do that. Some people just put it within 3 months, and then, but mostly they put the 6 months. But if you're good enough, it won't reach 6 months. We will hire immediately, because we don't want to let go those things. More important. A lot of people will double check with the client. Client will give feedback. Okay. Normally, when you be probation for 3 months, for 6 months, you work within the agency for 3 months or a couple of months first. Then we let you go see the client, follow people to see the client. Within that, and then client will get certain feedback. Oh, she's so quiet in the meeting. She doesn't say anything. So it's that, those kind of comments come from the client. Okay, sometimes I gave them a call, but it took so long for them to get back to me. Okay, those are the days where we use telephone, which is phone, landline. And now you have your WhatsApp lah, whatever. But remember, I'm very old school, but I still feel that use a language which is proper in your email because they're legal. Don't use WhatsApp language. Okay? No short form, no shortcut, whatever. That's my advice. I may be old school, but that's legal. Okay, when you discuss business, that's legal. Even though you WhatsApp, whatever, your client, your friends, or whatever. Again, you are two legal entities. Your client is that you need to deliver certain thing which will pay you for whatever that you've done. So it's a legal entity, even though how close you are. Okay, just remember that. Email, whatever you do, it's always through email. It's black and white. Try cover. Because most of the time, when there's a blunder, when there's a problem, client will throw it back to the agency. We are always the scapegoat. If you don't cover yourself, you're gone. Simple as that. Okay. Okay, that's it.
Okay. Any other questions first? Or okay, never mind. Maybe I'll take one from the list that I have.
Yeah.
Okay, so there are two questions that are quite similar here. I'm just gonna smoosh them together. Do you have any advice for people who are, very nervous about their interviews? Like they get very anxious. Like, do you have any advice how they can overcome it or what they can do?
Those are being human. I also get nervous at what level. Even now, also sometimes go for a meeting. It depends, because number one is prepare yourself. Prepare yourself. It doesn't. I mean, don't. Sometimes you over prepare. Also, you got exposure. You go through like 100 FAQs. Trying to answer all the questions. If I'm a weakness, if that's it. I mean, try to fit. Even prepare yourself in terms of, like I say, if you're fresh, prepare yourself in terms of how you should fit into that job scope that you're applying. Okay, whenever they ask you, sometimes they say, "Do you have any questions?" Ask about that, because you prepare about that, and that part is not discussed. Then brought out the topic which wasn't asked, wasn't discussed. Again, thing. Rather than some people, when they ask a question, they ask how much you get paid. About it would be nice to ask about the job. That will reflect in terms of your interest, rather than yourself. Where will I be sitting? Outside. Don't say anything. I mean, you want to come for a job. And not to worry, because nervous is just being human. To me, once you prepare yourself, again, there will be unexpected questions from people. Some people test you. I don't like this kind of thing. Test, trying to be, angry lah, whatever. Come on lah. So we just want to get to know you. The thing is, you go in just like you want to meet somebody new who wants to get to know you, and express yourself truthfully, not trying to be somebody else. Once you try to be somebody else, it's very difficult. It's very difficult when they probe you, and then suddenly you have to, like you lie lah. When you lie, you want to cover, you have to put another lie, you lose track of what you're lying about. Basically, you're being truthful, because that's what I look for. Basically, characteristic. You're being truthful. Sometimes they say, "No, I don't know lah. I'm not sure." You don't know, say you don't know. The kind of why. Not to worry. I know a lot of people get nervous, but that one. Maybe psychiatrists can be advice, but to me, it's normal. Now, sometimes I know. Sometimes so there are people, interviewer, I mean, some of my staff are nice enough, relax, you know, I mean, we will calm you down, because we're not going to test you. We want you to be part of our team, you know. Yeah, you calm down and then you start this discussion. I mean, it just nervousness won't last forever. Try to break the ice with the first question, that kind of thing, you know, break the ice, and then the communication will flow, unless you have problem with communication. Okay, I have problem with communication the first time when I started the job, because I came from kampung, everything all Malay, and suddenly English. But my boss was very good enough. She gave me the opportunity to be able to learn on the job. But those were the days. Now it's very difficult to do that. Yeah.
Maybe I'm just going to continue a bit about that with regards to language. How important do you consider language skills like communication when they talk to you? Does it affect, do you think it affects the interviewer's opinion if they are like very obviously they cannot really speak the language that is required?
Okay, like I said, okay, it depends on interviewers. I was given a chance, okay, but at the end of the day, you understand, you are in mass communication. What is your course called? Communication. Okay, you know, communication. Please polish up on that. If not, how do you communicate? Basically, it's simple as that. You know, but again, I mean, there are, you know, now people through computer but talent is very different, very unique, you know. I have friends of mine. I mean, when they speak English, it came out like, I don't know which kampung, whatever, but they are a writer. They're English writer in the newspaper. And when they write, wow, I say, I can't write like that. When they speak, wow, why do you speak like that? Basically, you know, I express better through interpersonal communication. When I write, it takes me slower to be able to put my words, you know, because I will be very careful. I don't want to say the wrong thing. I don't want to put the right words, you know, because sometimes there's a lot of words, vocab is so rich, you know, what word do you put to get the right meaning that you want, you know, when you want to talk, you can always explain without using the one right vocab, but you can explain in a sentence, you know, that's why I find it very much easier. But there are people like that, you know, but again, they are writers, so they don't have to communicate. so find a place like that. Okay, if you can't communicate verbally, communicate through writing, you know, those kind of, there are opportunities everywhere. All you need to do is look.
Okay, cool, thank you. I have this other question, because you mentioned like the question of, you know, how much you're going to pay me and all that. So this one question asks, how would you answer the question if they ask you like, oh, what are your salary expectations? What's the best way to kind of respond to this, you think?
Okay. When fresh graduate, every agency will have a starting pay. Okay. If they ask you that question, to me, I would say they just want to test you. Because if you ask for 5,000, also they only have 3,000, they'll give you 5,000 lah. They won't give you 4. Okay, I mean that's a reality. Maybe you post that back to them. What is your starting? You know, post it back to them lah, because you know you're allowed to ask questions. When do you ask questions? You know, yeah. And then when they ask whether would you, I mean, are you comfortable with that? I said, I mean, find an answer. If that's the industry standard, I suppose everywhere I go, it will be that. My choice. But you know, in terms of, I just want to, you know, to build my career and just want to find the right place to be able to start something like that. That's what we want here. You know, you being part of the team rather than about yourself. So that's me lah. You know, some people want to say, because at the end of the day, just say things and discuss things that will reflect your characteristic. You reflect your character. because this is mass communication agency is a team industry, there's no I in team, you can do some the cliche lah, it can be so, but it's true.
Okay, the question in chat says, is there a way to ask about the basic salary, or is it just like you say, just ask them what are your starting pay, or is there any other way to kind of ask that, especially if they're not fresh graduates, if let's say they've worked a bit and they're looking for a new job, and you don't know what necessarily is the pay equivalent,
Okay.
how can they deal with that?
Okay, when you work, that means it's considered experience. Yeah, provided if you work, if you go a cashier at Uniqlo, it's not counted lah. Maybe it count in your resume because you interact with people, you become sales girl. Yeah, it count like that. But don't compare the pay from there. But if you work in an agency before, yeah, we want to know your last pay. That would be a starting point. And then of course, we are not, if you're earning, let's say, just to discussion purposes, if you say earning 1,000, I'm not going to give you 900 lah. Kind of thing. Maybe we add another 100 or add another 200, and then we can be a discussion. Because at the end of the day, with experience, pay is part of the discussion in an interview. Unless the management say, I only have this amount of money, I only have this role for you to do this, are you agreeable or not? Then if you can I think about it? You can say about it. Put back the ball into their court. They have to wait for you. They can. So with experience, no issue. With the experience, the discussion is much easier because you talk about your experience. I can think. What have you learned and what have you not learned? What would you want to learn that you didn't learn from there, for example? Think about that, because you always position yourself in terms of how you want to progress, improve yourself. That's why you want to come here. They will ask you, why did you leave your agency? But you cannot bitch about those people, even though if you got treated like an idiot, you cannot bitch because one day those guys will come and join you, because this industry is very small. Okay, we always, with experience, if it is senior people, we will call. I always get a reference call, a referral call, from somebody. Hey, this lady, this guy has been there, whatever. Is it true that she was with you? Yeah. How was she? Yeah. This one, the last CEO of Astro called me. My ex, it was like 5 years, 6 years ago. She was part of your team. What was she? A contractor. And then a couple of weeks later, she called me. Thanks, boss. For your recommendation. And then I got a job. It's that. It's industry. It's a network. Okay, so you don't. You be careful what you say.
So good that you brought up references and all, because I think it's useful maybe for the students to know, for fresh grads, probably you don't have that much working experience.
Yeah.
Should they include like references, names in their resume and all that? Or who do you recommend?
Reference is always aligned to your career. Aligned to your career. Unless you work with an NGO to do something, that person will be able to give an overview of your characteristics as your personality, because that's what we look for. Then it is relevant. If you work with somebody else, you ask lah, your superior, whatever your name, whatever. Can I put your name in your? You have to ask permission, okay? Because people don't like it. And then suddenly, who? Why? They say, no, I didn't give her permission to put my name. Then you will in trouble. That shows that, why you pandai put for example, you have to ask permission to be able to do that. That is when you have experience, you put that. As fresh graduate, not to worry, because if they call you as a fresh graduate, that means they are willing to take a fresh graduate. If not, you won't be called. So not to worry about what the experience people has that you don't have, because worry about what you can contribute and what you want to achieve in your life, building your career within the organization that you want to be with. Basically, just pair that together. That's what we look for, basically. A support. A fresh graduate is always a support team, because you're going to start very low. You'll be running behind me with all the artwork and then knock down the notes of a meeting, whatever. That's how you learn, basically. So, and then the process, then go through another training or whatever if the agency. So, yeah.
Okay, thank you. This question that I have here asks you, what are some typical things that people do in interviews that you kind of find annoying? Like, what shouldn't they do in an interview? What's irritating?
Attitude to me. When I ask question, I get one word answer. I find that irritating, because I want to understand you. I want to engage a conversation. Like you said, this is mass communication. We communicate. If you can't communicate, there are interviews that lasted less than 15 minutes. If that fellow find it an insult, too bad lah to me. Don't waste my bloody time, man. you know how much agency charge per hour? So if you take 5 minutes of my time, that's how much already, wasting time. So I might need to go somewhere else, those things, So it's like not to worry about interviewing, because sometimes when you're a fresh graduate, the people who interview you are not the CEO. It's a team leader. It's either account manager or account director. They are not as fully experienced, as solid as also just yet. Not to worry, okay? They're not senior as a CEO, okay? Not to worry about that, because we're CEO. They are just a part of team who wants to find somebody to help them. So make them feel comfortable that you can be part of their team, basically. So it's like that. Because when I was account director, I was interviewing people. I want to be part of my team. So this person is good. They can handle this one. Because when I was building my Coca-Cola team, there are a team in terms of doing advertisements. There are a team that doing events. So I hire based on that characteristic of people. This one good event, whatever. Can you do this, whatever? So, but so far, because of the intern, we have the event. My intern, I'll go, especially when I have event, like the last time I shared the Coca-Cola World Cup, FIFA World Cup, I will take a lot of interns, like let them run here, run there, run there. So I can find who's the most efficient. I say, I hire that one, you become event. Okay. Then we go with music, sponsorship, and doing concert. They enjoy, the young ones. So you in charge of this concert one, and you in charge of this advertising, you in charge of this shooting, those things, so at that level, because I'm the head of coordinating everything, I still report to my big boss, that kind of thing. So, but this is my small team. So is that, so you understand that perspective. Because sometimes don't worry about asking questions in terms of what role, whatever. If they say, oh, not sure yet, but we're looking for, some people just hire, but not sure in terms of where to put you. But they can put you anywhere, any account. Can they? So they can ask you question also. So is there any particular thing that you want to be, whatever? You find your answer lah. You want to be picky? I said, no, I only want this, I only want that one. I don't. So to me, just at this stage, understand where you are in terms of how you want to build your career. This is a beginning for you. This is my first job. You want to learn. That's what I want to see. That one you want to learn, you want to build your career. I don't come and tell them after 6 months you want to open your business. Even though you want to open business, don't tell them, because they want you to be like, oh, I'm going to spend like 1 year training you, and you run away. No, don't give that kind of impression. Some people are stupid enough, they mention that. You know, hey, I want to be there, I want to be there. Oh, trying to prove that they're ambitious. Okay, you're ambitious. You're being selfish. I'm giving you the opportunity, training you, and then you're talking about how you want to get rich yourself, something like that. You know, so.
Okay. Any other questions from the floor before I go back to the questions I have?
I have a question.
Yeah.
So basically, I did find like a few small agency on social media like Instagram.
Yeah.
And then when I go to LinkedIn or any job finding apps, I don't really see myself working in those like scope but when I see like the companies like in the visual presentation and then like learning more about who are they and then what they do as an agency, but they don't offer their job offering on the app. So I was wondering, what do you think about like new like fresh graduates emailing the company, and if you think email is okay, but like what are you expecting in the email in order to like you want to hire?
Yeah, you mean there's no vacancy, there's no opening, but yeah, you might. I mean, that's how you apply job, like you cast your net, you see, hopefully that one will catch a fish. You know, one will call you for interview, that's all you ask for, isn't it? So it's good for you to go for a few interviews so that it give you example, they give you experience. Yeah, sometimes you don't have experience in work, but experience in interview is very good. Yeah, I mean, that one I agree. You can just drop a note, a simple note of an email looking. Say, my name is whatever. I'm looking for opportunity to be. I'm just graduated from attached is my resume. Please, I'm available for interview anytime at your convenience. Full stop. You know, don't tell the whole story in the email because they don't have time to do. Okay. So when they remain, application for a job, something like that. So they know it. There will be somebody who is in charge of HR who will keep all these emails. Whenever there's opening, they will go through.
Okay.
You see not? They will go through. So it's in the file.
Okay.
Okay. Big agency, they have somebody there. Small agency, I'm not sure, but I'm sure they have. Somebody will keep, you know. So don't worry. Maybe 2 years later they will call. I mean, again, it may be too long, but again, sometimes is that. And then 2 years later they start calling and they say, like, oh, I'm already in this agency. So there will be opportunity for you to move to another agency.
Okay.
So we do that. Sometimes we keep for a few years, you know. Okay. So I mean, not to worry in terms of you have to cast your net, you know. Send as many as possible. One will call you, then probably that provide you opportunity. If not, they will put in the file. Not to worry, you know.
So if I find like 10 potential small or big company that I think, you know, I believe I will want to work for.
Yep.
Do you think it's okay to send 10 emails at once to these 10 companies? Like, do you think it's like, because sometimes I'm scared one of the companies is also their partner company, and then, you know, if there's like an issue like, oh, this person's sending 10 emails to these companies.
I'm not too worried about that, because at the end of the day, you're looking for a job. Okay. You're not sure that once you send one email that one is going to call you, interview, going to hire you straight away. You know, if they think that you know, I'm very exclusive, you send to me, why do you send to somebody else? Then don't work with them.
Yeah.
No, not to worry, because sometimes we don't know. Okay, I mean, that's a good point, because a lot of agencies now they are okay. When I was running Bates, Bates Malaysia. Bates belong to WPP company based in London. There are 13 WPP companies in Malaysia. Okay, but all the 13 has got different CEOs. We were competing with each other. Now that 13 has become, I think, 5, or if I'm not mistaken. So we don't know. Okay, we don't know. Okay, I just found out. I mean, on your point, I just had a tertarik with my ex-staff recently with Publicis. My last job was Publicis. It was Publicis Malaysia. I was CEO of Publicis Malaysia, and then global brand is Publicis based in Paris. Okay, I report to Paris. The advertising agency, Publicis. Okay, there's another advertising agency under Publicis is Leo Burnett. Another agency under Publicis is Saatchi. The media agency is Starcom. Now Starcom has become Star Richer. Star Richer, under Star Richer, there's Starcom, there's Leo Burnett, that kind of thing. So now they're trying to absorb Publicis into Star Richer, wanting to become one. Okay, I've been predicting this for so long. Okay, I've been telling everybody. I tried to do this in Bates like 16 years ago. When I first started, they call it advertising agency. They call it a full service agency. In one agency, there's departments, not companies. Okay, there's media department, there's creative department, there's event department, there's PR department, there's that one. Now Star Richer is trying to do this. I don't know whether they've done it, but that's what I heard from my staff. They're bringing everything together under one Star Richer. So you join into that company, you have this, you have that. So if you apply in the company, so it doesn't matter. So if you get to Star Richer, probably they can send you to Publicis, can send to Leo Burnett, they can send you to Starcom, and the kind of thing. It depends, you know. It doesn't matter whether it's to send to Starcom, send to Leo Burnett, because each one of them has got different leaders. You know, you'll be lucky that each one of them call you for an interview. Let them fight.
Yeah. So basically, as a fresh graduate, I've been thinking about this very crucially, because I don't know whether to email them or just go for the conventional, job seeking apps. You sign up and just wait for an interview. But then I also do see people emailing their resume to the company, but that was only overseas, so I'm not sure about in Malaysia.
I mean, not to worry, because you're not doing anything wrong. You how many job apps are there? You have to post in everything. So not everybody subscribe to the, how do you know that this agency subscribe to this job app? So again, and some agencies use talent, what do you call it, talent agency company, what do you call through, what do you call it,
hunting company,
hunter, hunting, I sometimes senior I use hunting, kind of thing. So hunter, is difficult for you to get listed. When you have experience, you get listed, kind of thing. So I was headhunted a few times, because they find out, but again, that is good lah, because but as a fresh graduate, I don't see there's anything wrong for you to email, because that's more personalized. If you put in an app, you're part of the thousands inside there. There's how many people now, how many graduates are there looking for a job?
That's true.
Okay. So you have to have a certain personal initiative to be able to get to them. I mean, just write a simple note, proper English.
Okay.
Not WhatsApp language, not Instagram language. So I mean, so make sure.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. You're welcome.
Good question, Fiona. Thank you. Shukri, I have this question that was submitted earlier, asking how can we deal with being fired or retrenched, especially like this kind of pandemic. If you get retrenched, what should you do? What do you recommend?
Retrench, I don't know what to say, because it's not your fault. I go to why we get fired. Okay, remember when I get fired, because when I fire, when I had to let go somebody, I will, because I don't want to be like, I have colleagues who will just use the F word, those kind of things. These people got no heart, man, kind of thing. So I know, I mean, it's not, because they are angry. To me, there's no point, because this is, because it doesn't matter. The point is, I will make sure they know their mistake. Okay, explain to them the mistake, and you have to go. And you have to go, because I don't have a space for you anymore, because the client doesn't want you, because of the client. Basically, they think I fire people because of the client. I don't fire. Or there's a couple of people which I feel that it doesn't fit into my team, basically, my team. Of course, like if you break the law, you steal something, that one easier lah, the kind of things. But so far, no. To me, I fired a few, except for one head of department, I fired, they sue me back. Okay, because I fired because of the relationship with the client, which I don't like. So it's more of the integrity of the agency. So I mean those things. And yeah, and what was it I wanted to say? Yeah, I mean, retrench when they have in an agency, when they have to close a department, then you have to retrench. Okay, when you're retrench, I guess you have to start over, not start over from beginning lah, but you already have an experience. It's not when you retrench. It's not because you're not good, or because of the need of that department is not going to be there. So I mean, the agency doesn't need that department anymore. It's not that you're obsolete, you can think, but your skill is still there. So you have to go and find any other job. I know it is quite down. It means it's a downer, but you have to be positive to be able to apply for a new job. If not, there's no point. Yeah. But if you get fired, please understand what is your mistake. If not.
Do you think it affects them, like when they go for another interview and they're like, oh, so why did you leave your last job? But they didn't leave, like they were fired, or
no, I mean,
yeah,
when you're fired, you have to tell that you left lah, whatever lah. I don't know, a bit a lie. I don't know why they lie a bit, whatever, that kind of thing. So, but when you get retrenched, be honest about it. Yeah, because and then you have to find out, because the agency will have to give you a good reason why they retrench you. Because why do they close the department? They don't need it anymore, because the agency now let them merger. Okay, during my time, my last couple of years in Publicis, we were trying to merge our creative department between the Burnett and Sachi and finance department. Is that we want to have one finance department that handle 3 agencies instead of 3 different finance departments. You know how many staff you have to retrench from there? They don't talk. Paris don't worry about how many staff they retrench. They're talking about how much money they're going to save. Instead of hiring 30 people, 10 each from the agency, I'm just going to sustain 10 people, handle 3 agencies. Okay. So these people are very ruthless people. I mean, this big corporation, okay, multinational. They just want to make money, basically. So I mean, those days. So I mean, when you're in that situation, basically you're helpless. So I would, to me, I would be honest enough to be able to tell you got retrenched, basically. I mean, you got fired. I don't know what to do, lah. That must be. I don't know. I don't want to ask. I don't want to advise you to lie or whatever. So maybe at the end of the day, if sometimes you get a referral call, and then you sometimes referral call, you don't have to put your name there. They know. Oh, you work with whom? Okay, and I get a call. Sometimes I did. These people, they didn't put my name as referral, but they just want to know whether this person true or not, whatever he claimed or she claimed to be able to do this or to do that, those things. Okay.
Thanks, Shukri. Any questions from the rest in here before I go back to the list that
I have a question.
Any questions?
So it is okay to tell the potential employer that I have another offer or other interview lining up?
That will be at the end of the at the end of the session, because normally at the end of the session they will say either we get back to you. That could be 50-50, it could be good news, could be bad news, or they might just offer you straight away. Once they offer you straight away, then you have to tell them whether you have another offer. Then you have to decide, those things, if they want you to decide there and then it's up to you, whether you want to consider or not consider those things, So I will ask a question. If you have another offer, why are you attending to this interview? You meant to make a choice, is it? I mean, yeah. That's a question for you.
A good point. Along in that line, what do you suggest they do if, like, okay, so they went for an interview with one company, the company, then they went back after the interview, then they went for another interview with the second company.
Yeah.
And they really want to work with the first one, but the first one hasn't replied yet. Then the second one offers them a job, and they're like, oh, okay, maybe the first one's not going to reply, so I accept. And then after that, the first one that they actually want to work with comes back and says, oh yes, we want to hire you. What should they do?
I don't want to advise on that.
Difficult.
Yeah, it's very difficult because people do that. People do that. I think I have similar experience, but not exactly the same situation. It's just that you just sour your relationship. You know, you can think. So I mean, it doesn't matter if you're new. So to me, it can. Again, like I said, I won't advise on that. So you decide. Okay. You know, you decide basically. Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
That is a for you. There's a happy problem. You know, but be careful.
That's also good advice. Be careful. Don't want to sabotage yourself. Okay. Any other questions before I get back to my list? Let me see. Is there anything in the chat? Nope. Not right now. Okay. Let me get to the list that I have. Which one have I not asked? So how do you suggest that they, try and differentiate themselves from other applicants? If there are, if there are so many people looking for, let's say, internships or jobs at once, any suggestions on what they could do?
All of you, 30 of you, I don't know, the 20 or 30 of you in this room will have the same qualification. Okay? Different grades, which is not so important to us. Okay, to me lah. Yeah, right. Exactly. You're always back to the personality, the passion, the drive, the passion of you wanting to be in this industry. Some people, I can tell they come here just want to get a job. Doesn't matter. Probably tomorrow they can get another bank job or what, they can go to a bank, whatever, working as a PR department or whatever. I can do, the enthusiasm. Are you motivated enough or not? Are you confident enough to be able to, we want to see that confidence, especially when there's somebody new. We want to see the confidence. Try to hide that nervousness. We know you're nervous, but sometimes don't let it eat you up until we cannot have a conversation. Basically, I mean, to me it's just that. Because at the end of the day, put all your resumes. You're all from Taylor's. You all got bachelor's of mass communication in advertising. Full stop. How many of you? And then I also interview people from another university, all the same. Maybe the title is different, but almost the same. So so how do you want to translate whatever do you have on paper into your career, which all depends on your personality, on yourself in terms of how. So we want to see that. We want to see that. Maybe sometimes they will ask about your project. Okay, during this one, the project you work on, the country, you are on an NGO, so what do you do? How do you interview these guys? From there, because that is experience. That is when you'll be the most comfortable to talk about. When you do your project, you interview this person said this, that's why you put it this. I mean, that is experience. That keeps the conversation rolling so that you can be able to discuss. From there, we can tell your personality, your enthusiasm, whether you're motivated, how you do things, your thinking, basically. The cognitive consonants.
Okay, thank you for that answer. Anyone else in here got questions in the room that I do not have? I think the remainder of my questions are quite similar, but yeah, go ahead first.
I have a question because for the past 2 years we're like in lockdown.
Yep.
And then back in uni I used to do like volunteer work, but I never record it because it's under the Shine program, so I kind of don't record it, but I do volunteer work in uni. And ever since COVID started, there's not much volunteering work except like assignments and projects. So it comes down to like the previous question, like how do you differentiate among your other colleagues as well? So it's like, do we talk about what we're very passionate about based like on our own personal project? Like for example, we're working on like our own personal design work or writing work for like a blog or for like Behance. So can we use that as a starting point to like differentiate us if we cannot land like a volunteering work or any other event participation in like uni?
Yeah, I mean, again, it is similar. Okay, everybody is locked down. Okay,
Okay.
you have this bachelor from mass communication. They are all locked down. Okay.
Yeah.
So, but before lockdown, what were you doing? That part is interesting that you're talking about in terms of what you work. You work for your the what do you call it, the one before the lockdown that you working on something.
No, before lockdown, I did volunteering. Sometimes the campus, they will have like some volunteering work.
Yeah, volunteering. Maybe talk about the volunteering, the canteen, because of the people know. The volunteering stops because of COVID, basically.
Yeah.
And then you work on your project writing, because you have a lot of time. Sometimes they may ask, during lockdown, what do you do? What do you do with your free time? Because that will also reflect in terms of the kind of personality. I just don't do anything, I just sleep, eat. That's also we want to know, basically. Okay. Before I forget, good thing that you mentioned about social media. Social media. Some agencies will go through in terms of your social media to find out what characteristic you are. You remember, you have Instagram, you have your IG, you have your Facebook, you have your name. That will reflect in terms of what kind of, do you bitch or do you need whatever the kind of thing. Some agencies will do that. But I think most agencies do that. Because you expose yourself everything on social media already. From there, can know what are the kind of friends, what are the topic they talk about. That can tell already the kind of personality of who you are. You have friends on, you follow Twitter, you have Instagram. What do they post in Instagram? So that kind of hobbies. You can tell already that personality from there. Or not. So be careful.
Okay.
starting from now, be careful, because that's what they're going to go through. Because my days, I don't have that. You see, so I have to depend on the 1 hour talking. But now probably they will have half a day to be able to go through of who you are on social media and before they talk to you. And then they talk to you, you're trying to be a different person.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Fiona. Anyone else here got questions? Let's see. Any questions? If not, let me go back to my list. But as I said, my list, I think the remaining questions are fairly similar. Some of them you've answered already, actually, in terms of how to answer certain questions. Like you said, the 5 to 10 years. Where do you see yourself? Don't like you said, don't say I want to be my own boss. That's maybe not.
I want to take your chair.
Yeah. I think that kind of thing has been answered. And let me just see. Job expectations. Okay, I'm going to rephrase this question a bit. How important do you consider it for them to look at least presentable in an interview? Do you think that they should all wear like blazers and like, colored shirts and go in? Yes.
Yeah, the last time when we used, our ethics was to every meeting we wear ties. So we would expect people to wear ties in an interview those days. Okay, so my last interview as a job was more than 10 years ago. Okay, so I don't know whether things have changed, because even when I somehow let my team to be able to dress casual because of my device. Okay. So I'm the one to blame also, because, but I took it very seriously to be able to forego for interview, like guys to wear ties, ladies to wear something decent, and I mean, dress up like a professional. Okay. Sometimes casual also it can look professional, but again, some people casual may look slacker, you know what I mean? Try not to be that. Okay, you just look presentable basically. If you don't want to wear tie, at least a proper shirt, a proper pants, so shoes, But again, yeah, it depends. Nowadays, I don't know what's acceptable, but a lot of people now is not that formal anymore. Not that formal anymore. During my days, every industry very formal. Every important meeting they're all in suits. So I don't know what to do with my suits now. I got plenty of them because I wear them every week. So, so I'm waiting for winter to happen. So that, I mean, that's a culture. That's a culture. So, but again, I travel a lot also. So get suits. But the senior level, when I interview senior level, yeah, they wear suits. I do that also, the kind of thing. So the junior ones, but most of them will come in ties. Dress proper. I don't know whether, I'm not sure whether nowadays it's presentable. Sorry. I don't know what word to use. Sorry. Yeah, presentable, because I don't want you, your first impression, I want to go, when you walk into the room, I say, no. So when I was the leader or a team leader, I have a room. Our wall is glass, so every time I interview, all my staff will start passing by, trying to look the kind of person, whether they can judge based on the look. But unfortunately, all the boys, whatever, 30 people will come. Every time I interview a woman, a girl, they will come and say, "Oh," because they look at the look. Pretty one, you say, "Okay, higher." That happens, okay. So they want you have to look presentable, because you're going, a creative person different. Creative person, I mean the creative team, who's an art director or designer. They can come in their presentable with jeans and I mean, in the account management, it's a very formal kind of thing. Account management is always formal. I always remember that every time I interview, they all come formal. Once they start work, they're not formal anymore. But it doesn't matter because I like them. That's why I hire them. So we became friends. So and creative team, sometimes you still have to have presentable, because creative team, they have style also, when they kind of jeans, and then even t-shirt also, what kind of brand, whatever. Again, it's that. It's just to reflect in terms of personality. I have a friend who called himself Red. Also, he has already passed on a few years back. Every day he will have something red on him. It's either red pants or red socks or red shirt or red cap, and he can wear all black and then with one red pin. So his name is Red. So it's just unique. He's a writer. So that's characteristic. So when he came for interview, people look at him. He wears all red. So that became a conversation piece. But he was senior already then. But we find that's the kind of thing. So because that's personality. Without even having to say whatever, he came in and that's straight personality. So a very nice school guy, but unfortunately he passed on because heart attack. He's younger than me. I think so. A very creative guy. My writer for Levi's.
Thanks, Shukri. Any other questions from the rest here?
Hi, Mr. Shukri. I have a question. So, like earlier, Fiona, my classmate, asked regarding how when we have like extra I guess, projects or volunteering for other stuff. So if let's say for like us who are mass comm students, right, we may have other, I guess you can say passion projects, things that we are working on the side, whether it's like freelance, let's say you're a freelance photographer or freelance writer, or maybe you, like I said, have like passion projects that you work on separately that you are not hired by anyone, really you're just doing it on yourself, like by yourself. How does that look like from an employer's point of view? Do they think that like when you're interviewing them and they mention that they have these side projects that are still ongoing, does that look to an employer as someone who doesn't have time to work, or like they are maybe do they look like as if like they have a lot of things on their hands, and like where the employer may think like, oh, will this person be able to commit to the job that I'm going to give them? Kind of thing.
Yeah. Now I think with COVID lockdown, I mean, you all have plenty of time. We want to hear, to me as a management, I want to hear that rather than you sleep and eat every day, can you know? And so I guess that will be a nice conversation piece, because to answer the question, you know, in terms of what is your passion, you know, what will you do in your free time? These are the kind of thing that you talk about. At least that will be a conversation piece, you know. You can say, what do you do? And then you say about your photography. What kind of photography do you do? Because this is a creative industry. We're interested in kind of this, in those kind of things. Even though if you're not going into the creative team, but you're going into management team, I want to understand your creative sense. I want to be able to understand your creative sense. I want to be able to understand your ability to judge creativity. You know what I mean? So just to share, my passion is drawing. A lot of people, creative people, doesn't know that I draw, you can't think. But I do that during my, that provide me an ability to be able to evaluate creativity as well. You know, so I have a passion on my side to be able to do that, you know. So at this stage, because everybody is locked down, what do you talk about? You know, I cannot talk about experience because you haven't worked. I cannot talk about your class project because you haven't met with your colleague for, you know, other than through Zoom or Google Meet. So there's nothing much to talk about, basically. So I guess, I don't know, maybe you'll say, what do you do during lockdown? That's another new FAQ lah, I suppose. So that is what you talk about, your passion. So that will isolate you from the other 20 masscom advertising from tailors that they interview. So that will be able to bring out your personality. What do you do there? Why do you do this? Why do you, I mean, for example, if you like to take photography of plants or whatever, you know, where do you go to find plants when you're in lockdown? Or I take my baby brother or my niece or my nephew, you know, because we're stuck at home. I mean, find a conversation piece, because they also tired of asking the same question. They've been asking the same question to 30 people already, you know. They want to hear different answer, you know. So I want to hear different answer. I want to create a conversation so maybe I can get to know you, basically, you know. So like all you do, for the lack of experience that you can share, these are the experiences that you share that will reflect in terms of your passion, your personality, your enthusiasm, motivation, whatever that you want to do. Basically, use this. Okay. Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh, thanks, Esther, for the question. Okay, last call. Any questions before we let Mr. Shukri go and take a break? Others, let's see if anybody's going to type anything. Very good questions came up already so far. Let's see. All right. So if there's nothing else, since my remaining questions, the pre-submitted ones, were all very similar, unless Shukri, maybe you want to just round up, as in like, when it comes to unexpected questions, if they get something that they were not prepared for, like they ask some really, really random things, what, like, you know, would it affect the opinion if the person being interviewed just kind of freezes and like, Or should they just come up with some answer?
No, practice a nice answer of how you don't know stuff. Because it's nice to admit that you don't know, rather than trying to bullshit your way through something that you don't know. You know what I'm saying? So just admit, oh, I'm not familiar with it, to be able to talk about it. You know, it'd be interesting to find out more about it, whatever kind of thing. But at this stage, I don't think I'm in a position to give any opinion, for example. You know, find what do you call it? Not humble, a very a nice answer to turn down certain questions because you don't know. Again, it doesn't mean that you don't know. No doesn't mean that you're stupid. Yeah, it's more want to see how you react. The more they throw you with this kind of thing, the more they want to find out more about you, how you handle things, because it's like work, you know. And necessarily you appear with a problem, you run away. I said, oh, sorry, let me go back and review this, and I get back to you with a solution. That's what we do in the agency. You know, client will screw you, whatever. Say, I go back and find out what's the problem, whatever. Why this thing happened. It shouldn't happen, but let me find out what happened and I get back to you. But first, in the meantime, we like to rectify it first. That's a priority, those things, you know. So it's basically that. I want to share, maybe you should go into, there is one, there's a company called McKinsey & Company. They have in their website, they have a foundational skills in the future of work, in terms of how people to prepare. They did a research early this year in terms of the key points for people to prepare themselves in the future of work. What does it need? That's what we're talking about. You know, they put it in a very proper. I think they call it deltas, which is distinct elements of talent. 58 deltas. One is cognitive, it's about relating or involving in intellectual activity like thinking, reasoning, remembering, thinking capacity, and then interpersonal, which is you're talking about interpersonal communication, and then the other one is about digital. Now it's a digital era, about self-leadership, because everyone should have. Don't think that you're new, you don't need leadership. It's not trying to be assertive or what. I mean, a leader leads, a leader, people say leader don't ask people to do things, leader just become part of the team, basically, so so those kind of things. I mean, they have a very nice, I think it's in the website. I just came through, I didn't go through into detail. I just gone through because I wanted to do this session and just want to see what is the trend going forward. This is the very new research that they did. As they published this in August 2021. Digital. It's under McKinsey & Company. So this is an international firm. They also have in Malaysia, but they have in terms of, I mean, it's the same thing with it, but they put it into a quadrant. In terms of how, number one is your critical thinking, which is your intellectual, and interpersonal, digital, and leadership, that's all you need. You understand digital is the process into how to do things, how things work now, and then the algorithm whatever, and then your critical thinking. Once you have all those, you can think, and then your communication skills that will reflect your leadership. So that's all you need for. Okay. I mean, you have the component, then you'll be fine. So they have to be put together. Yep.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you so much, Shukri,
for
sharing all your wise thoughts on this hiring, firing, how to deal with it. I mean, I thought it was very interesting. I hope everybody else found it interesting and useful for your future internship interviews to come. So again, thank you so much for preparing and for spending this last 1.5 hours again, half an hour over what was initially intended, but that's good.
Okay.
We're done. Shukri, you can go. Thank you again so much.
Okay, take care.
Yeah.
I got one last advice which my boss gave me when I first started a career. He always said this. I'm quoting him to my advice to you, to the young ones. Enjoy what you do. When you stop enjoying your work, it's time to leave. I did that. Okay, I did that, and I happily left the industry after. It's basically that. You have to enjoy. You can don't force yourself. It's not so much you want to be so much into the agency, and you get this job because the agency has got better reputation. Look at the job scope. Which one will you enjoy most? Even though this is not the agency that you want, but the job scope is better, that's when you enjoy your career. And that's what I meant by enjoying your work. It's not choose based on the level, the image, okay? So this one doesn't work. When you buy stuff, it's based on image. Fashion is based on image. This one, your career, don't talk about image. Talk about what you're going to get. Yeah, you get it. Okay, thank you, everybody.
Thanks so much,
Have
Shukri.
fun. Stay
Bye.
safe.
Thank you,
Have fun.
Mr. Shukri.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank
All the
you.
best.
Bye.
So don't hold on to your emails. Just send them. Okay.
Okay.
And next one. Okay. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.